Hey everybody, KC0VII, Tom, and yeah, from the title you see, I have an FTX One now. Going down this rat hole. As you remember, a while back at the Tokyo Ham Fair, Yaesu announced the FTX One field, and it was a real small radio compared to HF rigs with all the features. You know, it could do a lot of bands, all mode, digital. APRS, only 6 watt on the battery and 10 watts with an external power supply, and I'm being attacked by a cat. Walter, what is your problem? Anytime the camera kicks on, Walter's got to come. Next thing you know, where's Duke? So it was a nice little rig. So okay, I'm reading anything I can find about this and checking for any videos that are leaking out of the Tokyo Ham Fair. Didn't hear much about it till I think it was like a month before Hamvention that year. The FCC announced, acceptance and the specification, and that's when we all found out about the Optima, the 100 watt PA deck. And I thought, oh my goodness, yeah, this is what I want, because what I'm doing, at this time I was transforming, or moving out of my Class C 23-foot motorhome Pooh into Tigger, which is a 16-foot teardrop. And the radio I had in the motorhome, the Yaesu FT991A, there was no way I was going to get that in, that little teardrop. And this would just be perfect. Now with the 100 watt deck, I can mount that deck down low in one of the cubby holes, run the Cat 5 cables up to the control head on the counter. In the rig itself, I can do 100 watts. Really? I got a cat real cheap. I'll send them to you. And if I want to go sit in the picnic table, do a day walk and make contacts, photos, unhook the head and go out and do it that way. And shortly after that, Yaesu announced pricing, and Gigaparts announced that for $35 you can sign up, be first in line on availability. I thought, oh, for $35, yeah, I'll get in line for that. And the idea was that you turned it down, you got your $35 back. And then it was like the week before Hamvention happened, I got an email from Gigaparts saying, they're in, do you want one? Yes, no. And heck yes, I'll get one. So I was just ordering, at the time I didn't know about all the accessories, so I was just going to order just a plain radio and then figure out what accessories I was going to need. And Hamvention came, and then there was a lot of YouTubers were showing, the ones they were buying there. And I remember the live shot that Saturday night at one of the campsites. They were playing around with one. And Josh from 2.0 was having a hard time doing, I forget what he was trying to do, but it wasn't working right. And Mike from Ham Radio 2 had the manual, and everybody's giving Mike a hard time for cheating. He's got the manual. And, they all figured it was just opera. And like I said, I was watching in any videos I could find, anything I could read on articles out of Yaesu about it. And the week after, I got an email from Gigaparts saying my order is being prepared. Then later on that week, I got an email saying, it's being delayed. And next week, the week after that, I got another email saying, yeah, it's delayed again. If you have any questions, please call. So I called up and was talking to this gal. And I said, well, what's going on? She goes, well, we were supposed to get, I forget how many she said, but we got half the radios we were supposed to. So, we're going over and making sure the people in line got it. I said, okay, I understand that. Says, when do you think you're going to get to my number? She goes, end of the month. And this was like the middle of, it was after Hamvention, so it was getting close to the end of May. And just half jokingly, I says, what month? And she goes, August. I go, wait a minute, this is May. So June, July, and August, it's 3 months before I can get it. But in the meantime, you've charged my credit card? She goes, yeah. Is there a problem there, sir? I go, yeah, cancel my order. And she canceled it and asked me if there's anything else I should do. And, that's when I hung up. And after I hung up, I realized, I should have asked her, was it store credit or refund my credit card? And about an hour later, I got an email from my credit card company stating that it was fully refunded. So I felt better on that. I'm going to switch hands here. Because now, Smokey, hey, we have 2 cats, special tonight. They're brothers, different fathers. Then all of a sudden, all the videos were coming out about the problems the firmware was having. It didn't sound like the radio was quite ready for prime time. It was rushed out to market. So I just kind of, missed that, dodged that bullet. Got a couple girlfriends that way. And just kind of, just sit back. And about 2 months ago, the news was getting better and the firmware was getting better. They were fixing more stuff than they were breaking. And I thought, okay, this is the time I'm going to really seriously look at it. And by then, I read enough stuff. I first, I wanted the Optima deck. A lot of the reports were saying even with a single sideband on the head, really? The head still gets warm, the actual radio body. So, okay, we'll put the external fan on, separation kit, the cage around the radio. So if I have it out, take it out on a photo, and GPS, of course. So that's 5 items. And so every Monday morning, I'd be drinking my coffee, reading emails, reading news stories, go to Gigaparts, and first couple weeks, the Optima was always out of stock. Well, then that was more in stock, and it was all the accessories. So this past Monday, lo and behold, the Optima's in stock, the cage is in stock, the extension cable's in stock, the fan's in stock, GPS not in stock. I said, okay, but wait a minute, the price was different on the Optima. And Yaesu announced at the start of March that there's going to be an increase in pricing due to, cost of increased production, a little bit on the tariffs, but they weren't really sure when this was going to take effect. I thought, oh great, now the price increased. I went back to I had tabs open up all the accessories, went back to the page with the radio on it, and no, it actually had gone down. It was on sale for $150. Okay, that just put me even worse in the hole. Now I'm really debating what to do, because I kept telling myself, when they have all 5 items, I'll buy it. Well, here we got 4 items, but it's on sale. We got a price increase coming. Let's just turn the pressure on me a little bit. So I called Gigaparts and got a hold of somebody. He said, I really want to get this radio, but I'm really worried about doing firmware updates. I cannot do firmware updates at all. I've destroyed a lot of stuff over the years. It doesn't matter if it's a computer, radios, cell phones. It's a quick, easy deal. Just do this firmware. It works fine. No, it rolls over and dies. And, I explained, says, do you guys have a service to do the firmware, what it's going to cost me? And she goes, no, sir, don't worry about it. Before any radio ships out, we make sure it has the proper firmware, and off it goes. And I just had that horrible feeling, boy, that was a really fast response to that. So I did go ahead and order it later on that day. So over here, we do have a little fan to go on the back, the separation cables, the actual Optima, and the little cage around the head. I'm going to get that out of the box, fire it up on the battery, check for the firmware. Then I'll go online and see if they did update the firmware. See, there's no seal, no seal on the box from Yaesu like how the other radio's going. And if they did do the updates and I did beat the price increase, great. Now, this week, that means I got to get my butt out to the camper because I wanted to getting ready to go camping. We're getting some nice weather here. I have to rearrange the radio rack in there because I did pick up that 891 after I canceled, the first time I had this on order. So I got to pull that out, rearrange it, because this head is quite large. I mean, you look at the picture that doesn't look that big, you think it's about a little bit bigger than the FTM 400 head. It's a lot bigger. I should set those side by side and show you. But so I got to rearrange that. I got another little project to do before that. Then I want to get this installed, mount the 400 body and the Optima body down low in the cubby hole, snake the cables up, mount all that. I think that'll take me like 2 days to do. It's a little cramped in there. I just want to take my time, get it done right. Then we can start doing some camping videos and start getting out here camping. So here we got the FTX1 head in the case, all secured, mics on it. Turned it on, checked the firmware. Nah, they never updated the firmware. I wish I wrote down that gal's name from Gigaparts. I would have called her back up and give her a piece of my mind, but my mind isn't that good right now. And I have to say one thing. Firmware on this was a heck of a lot easier. The 991A, I'm still trying to get the nerve up to do that. That's a little more difficult. This one, it's not even recommended. It just says the instructions. Insert the SD card into the FTX1, format it in the unit. And what that does, besides formatting into FAT32, I believe I saw, it also puts a small FTX folder with a directory tree in there. Then you're instructed to download the firmware for Yaesu's website, expand it or extract it, take those files and put it in the root of that FTX folder. Put it back into here. Go into the menus and select firmware update. And I had my rosary out. I had my little pray mat. I had my voodoo doll. I had my little Buddha. I had Anything a religious icon I had around the house to around the radio, and I was on the corner sucking my thumb, hoping that the firmware did not belt or burp or whatever. And because my experience with firmware is absolutely horrid. This thing went right on through it. I was like, wow, that wasn't painful. So this is all set to go into the camper. And just to show you it's a size difference, get this back here between the FTX one. Now granted it's in the case, so it's a little bit bigger, but I was lining up the edge of the control head to the edge of this is an FTM 400. As you can see, it is only, it's a little bit more than half. I'd say the FTX is, it's larger. I'd say the FTM is maybe 3/4 the size of the FTX one. Get my terminology here right. Just so you're aware, if you think about getting one of these, even though it looks kind of not that bad in the picture of the brochure or online, it is quite large. Almost got it all installed. We'll take a quick look here. And over here, we have the Bear Tracker 885. That's a CB radio with a built-in analog digital scanner. It's kind of nice. I mainly use it in the campgrounds, less than the public service side. Then we got the old Yaesu FTM 400. I'll use that for local VHF, UHF. A lot of times when we're camping, that will be put in crossband repeat to access the local repeater. Then we use just our normal handhelds to go to talk from the handheld to the camper here, then from the camper out to the local repeater. And here's the one everybody's wanted to know about. The FTX, as you can see, I got it in the cage. Just have to do this little nut on the bottom, spin it off, and that'll come off, and I can slap the battery on, and it's all set to go. I'm still waiting for the GPS module to come in stock. And down here in the equipment bay, this black flexible pipe is actually the air conditioning ductwork, and it goes inside this wall up to that nozzle. Well, inside the wall, it is not the ductwork. They use that fiber or the insulation board, and it's actually, they made a ductwork inside this, and the problem is, from the access panel on down, this pipe is over here, and it goes off, not quite on a 45, but it angles off. So there's very little room around that vent pipe for the sewer system. There is probably a 2-inch PVC pipe that runs down and drops off just where those blue wires, network cables go up. That's full. I was able to get the 3 lines for the FTM 400 in there, and that thing is full. There's no other way you're going to get anything in this. So I had to use some of this wall molding and run it up the wall. I had to drill a little hole there in the seat, and it opens and closes up, pinching the wires. Then it sits down in here, and I mounted, make you guys stand in your head, a little fuse panel there. Power comes off the batteries into a breakout panel. I got fuses. So you can see there's no antennas. That's what tomorrow's project is going to be, is work on the antennas or the coming days. But it sits in there fairly decent. It is going to be protected. I do have some double sticky Velcro. It's real strong Velcro, double sticky, to hold the Velcro onto the floor or the device, and that works real good. I've had real good luck with that stuff. I'm wondering if I can get some more. I think I picked that up at Menards, but it didn't turn out too bad. As you can see, you can sit here. Now I'm going to do a little wire management up here, get this area up here cleaned up a little bit better. Then I'll slide in the AV pallet. That's one thing when I moved into the Tigger here, coming up with this palletized idea, where this is just scrap plywood. That's why this is 1/4 inch to 3/4. It's just what I had found, spray painted it black, so it kind of is dark. And that's just screwed in to the bottom side. Now on a normal tab, this is set up for a microwave. You can have a microwave in here, so microwaves aren't that light, so that's why I'm sure I can have all this stuff without doing any damage. Cut 4 screws, this whole pallet, undo a couple power cable and antenna, and this will come out. Same thing with this one. If I have to move this out, I can easily get that out of the way. So palletized and everything, it worked real good. Thank you, NASA. And if you don't quite understand what I'm talking about, go back to about a year or so ago when we first got Tigger, and we're talking about how we're going to put the AV and the radios in here. And it worked out real good. If you're going to do something like this in a camper RV, take a look at that. See if there's a way you could just make a pallet, put everything on the pallet. That's why in the fall, when you need to put it to bed for the winter, a couple screws, it'll come out. You can store that somewhere else. You really don't want to leave the your electronics out in the cold, especially your AV. Now the radios, if you look at the specifications, these are made for cold weather. We're going to wrap this one up due to the fact that I think this is like the third or fourth day I've been working on this. It's just with a hot water heater and water softener dropped in here and some other stuff. What we got, I'm getting some really strange, I call it picket fencing. And it's on a couple of those. This is 20 meters. It's on 40. So it's probably something inside the camper. And I have a sneaky suspicion, again, it's that solar controller. I'm going to work on my wire management, take care of that today. Straighten that up so I can put the pallet of AV gear in. Get everything all back together. I have the manual. I'm going to start down and start going through all the different features in that. Antenna-wise, that's what everybody's saying. What about the antenna, Crowley? Well, that's going to be a separate video due to the fact, let's get out here. A little windy today. Where else in the Midwest can you see all 4 seasons in a week? What I'm thinking about doing, I got just a pole, piece of conduit with the Addis on it, and it's actually working. It won't do auto tune, and I think it's due to the fact that the only ground I'm using is on the coax. It's not being grounded like it should be from the mount. I saw a couple reports on the Facebook page, FTX Facebook page, that the auto feature is not yet in this latest software, and I saw some says yes it is. So I'm going to say it's my ground. What I want to do is get out of the wind, around here in the front. My plan is I really don't want to drill a hole in the side or the ceiling of the camper. What I'm thinking about doing is put a piece of PVC here, then get like a painter pole, slide that in there so I can put it on and off. Get another one of these sewer pipe holders, mount it next to that one so I can slide my painter pole in there. I'm going to have to make a T-bar go across the front. All the antennas, because I got the Addis, the CV antenna, a dual band antenna for the 400, and a scanner antenna for the 885. And come up with a way of doing that. And then for now, I think I'll just, like I did here temporarily, is go through the window. These windows have a feature for venting. The idea is there's just a little bit of gap here to allow air inside, so in the wintertime, you'll crack open a window like that. You crack open the roof vent, and that allows some ventilation through so you don't get a buildup of moisture. On these little campers, on this girl, on Tigger, this is aluminum frame construction. Then they put that fiberboard insulation in between the aluminum studs. On the inside, they put the, get in here, you see a little bit in that hole, they put in the wall material. And then on the outside, they put in the gaps, that fiberboard. Then on the outside, they put a layer of aluminum across the walls and up over the roof. So it's really neat. I should have grabbed that my spectrum analyzer. You're outside, you can see the noise hole. You come in and shut the door, and it drops down quite a bit. So it's kind of like a Faraday cage. Then on the aluminum, what they do then is they put this Asdale siding on it, fiberglass material kinda, and that way it's nice and protected, it looks good. And that's what I'll probably do for this summer. If anybody comes up with a better idea on these little teardrops, how to do it. Also, I am looking for a small portable antenna. There's a couple of them on the market I saw. Comet makes a small one. What is that? The DHM or whatever. I'll put them. I'm looking for, if you have one of these small I call them antenna in a bag. You got different coil sizes, different size whips. And you just assemble the radio for what band you're in and move a jumper. I can get one of that if I go POTA or a picnic table, or if you have a different type of antenna. I know some people are saying use a long wire or something like that. Well, fine. Put it down in the comments what you would use or what you are using for your POTA or your SOTA. I'm going to get out of the wind. It's right now, it's like 45 degrees out here, and that wind is really strong. It gives us a wind chill. It's cold. Even for somebody like me who grew up here in the Midwest. So, 7-3, everybody. Be sure to tell your friends, neighbors, other hams. Subscribe, hit that bell to get notification when new videos come up. Add comments below. 7-3, everybody.